Yo, what's up, baby? Hey, we back for another week of games, baby. Of games. We're gonna do a little bit of recap. Okay. First things first. All right. We only lost one. We only lost one spread last week. We only lost one. All right. Everybody else covered. We only lost one. Michigan at Oklahoma. That's the only one that we lost. We won our parlay. All right, Kentucky plus 10 and Michigan State plus 6. All right, Michigan State won at home 24-20. That was ridiculous. I mean, like that was so. I mean, like I told y'all before, it just make you go cha-ching. Kentucky, when they had Kentucky at plus 10. Now when the game started, they had Kentucky at plus 8. But obviously we got them at plus 10. Okay. Kentucky lost by 7 at home. I thought they were gonna win outright, but it's okay. Michigan lost to Oklahoma 24-13. Right, our only loss for our top 5. Right. Let's see. Baylor beat SMU 48-45, and that was an amazing comeback. Baylor walked that down. I know they were wore out the week before with Auburn, but they came back. I mean, and this is the difference, man, between a good team and a great team, man. Good teams, they win. Great teams come from behind and win. That's what great teams do. Clemson and Troy, you know what I'm saying? Clemson, now Troy obviously, they aren't SMU, right? And yeah, Clemson, Clemson, they're banged up. They have a lot of people out. I'm afraid for this upcoming week for them, but we'll get to that. Iowa State won this one by 3, 16-13. Very close. Bill Belichick and the North Carolina Tar Heels, we got them at -12. The finals, I think the final spread was like plus 11 when the game started. So we got them at -12, -13. Man, 20-3. They won 20-3. I like how their defense played against Charlotte. They still have a long way to go. That offense definitely needs to improve. I don't think Gio Lopez is the answer right now. But I'm not the coach. Miami against Bethune-Cookman. Now, Miami were 58.5-point favorites. Miami made a lot of people upset this weekend because they didn't cover that spread. But I always tell people it's too. I factor in like 3 or 4 things, right? When I'm looking at the spread, I factor in the players, right? Can you cover it, right? Does the coach want to cover it? And will the other team let you cover it? Those 3 things right there. Ole Miss, like I'll use Ole Miss, Kentucky, right? Lane Kiffin, he wants to cover it, right? But he didn't have the players to cover it, and Kentucky didn't want him to cover it. So those 3 things right there, you know what I'm saying? Like he wanted to do it, but the history says that he can't do it, or this team won't let him do it against them. That's what history shows, right? Oregon against Oklahoma State. Oregon is known for off the charts, just off the chart spread winning. Like Oregon is, man, they will blow you out. And that coach over there at Oklahoma State, Mike Gundy. I mean, he better be quiet for the rest of the year. You got beat 69-3, my man. And you were around here walking out, and I knew he couldn't. I knew there's no way that they were going to beat Oregon, right? Especially at Oregon. I don't care if Oregon was at Oklahoma State. The score would have been probably would have been 49-3, right? Something like that if it was at Oklahoma State. But you don't go running your mouth after losing your best players. In a year last year, which should have been a good year for you, you don't go running your mouth to somebody who actually thrives off of that. Like you didn't learn. Like 2 years ago, we learned what kind of team, what kind of man and coach that Dan Lanning is in Oregon. When he when he said in his pregame speech at Oregon, when Colorado went to Oregon, he said they're playing for clicks. We're playing for wins. Like this man understands locker room talk. You know, but for you to bump your gums like that, I'm listening. Like I love listening like that. You know, the quarterback for Boston College a few weeks ago, you know, when he said Alabama has no Nick Saban and they can't stop me, I love betting on guys like that. You know what I'm saying? Like who can win. You know, I love, you know, and like I said, that was ignorant. 14 points. You gave Florida State 14 points, you know, at home. I think that was ignorant. But they did it, you know. But I love, yeah, if they made me in charge of setting up spreads, yeah, there'll be a lot of people mad. They'll be trying to knock me off because they'll be like, man, we don't know which way to go if this guy plays the numbers. So, all right, but USF in Florida. USF won this one straight up. I said last week, I said USF has to prove to me that they can beat Florida, and that's what they did. They proved it. Now, granted, Florida made a lot of dumb mistakes. They were just terrible up front. Offensively, they were disgusting. They were disgusting offense. I don't know if it was an off day, but I don't care. You're in the swamp. You're supposed to win, right? Now, maybe you get away with that loss playing in Tampa, playing at Raymond Field Stadium, right? I think it's Raymond Jones or something like that. Something like that. But playing in Tampa, you can get away with 18-16 loss. You can't do that in the swamp, you know. But, you know, that coach, he better be careful because that first bye week this year, he might not be there. They might fire him during that bye week. If you lose another game, and it's not looking good. It's not looking good for Florida because they still have to play. They got to play LSU this week, and then they have to play Miami again the week after that. Man, it's going to be. This is a tough schedule for them. You know, they are down in the dumps right now. It's a good thing they didn't have a long ride home. You know, if I was a coach, man, man. I'm saying there's nothing worse than losing at home like that. But at least you don't have a long way to travel. You can just, you know, it's not that far away. Miami of Ohio at Rutgers. Rutgers beat the crap out of Miami, 45-17. I really thought Miami of Ohio had a shot in this game at covering those 15 points. You know, but obviously the calculations on that was absurd because I was comparing Miami of Ohio to Ohio, right? Not realizing that Ohio was so much better than Miami of Ohio, right? So I got the two schools mixed up. I was in a hurry. I was in a rush. But you better believe from this point out, you know, so I'm going to be real sharp. Now, obviously, you know what I'm saying, those weren't the top 5 teams, you know what I'm saying, that I advise people, you know, to bet on, right? You know, but at the same time, I like to be right all the time. When I'm dealing with this, when I'm dealing with, you know what I'm saying, sports betting, anything that involves improving somebody's life financially, I don't want to make any mistakes. I don't want to make any mistakes. I don't care if I'm going to bet on the game or not. I want to make 0 mistakes. I want to go NO every week. However many games there are. I think it's 125, so 130 teams, so let's say 60. I want to go 65-0 every week. That's what I want to do. Yeah, and I don't want it to be close. I don't care if it's close. I don't care if I win by a half a point. I still want to go 65-0. But you gotta. My analysis is based off of, you know, the probability of something happening, right? My analysis is based off of everybody playing at their best. If this team is playing at their best and this team is playing at their best, then that means that by the time this is over with, this score should be this, right? But if you got the team who's supposed to cover or who's the better team, they're not playing at their best, and this team over here is playing at their best, and they're getting, you know, that lucky bounce going their way, that's where the issues come in at. You know, like the Oklahoma, I think Clemson and Troy game this week. Clemson and Troy game, I think 38.5 points. Clemson, 38.5 point favorites, and they won by 11. They won 27-16, right? But if you caught this game, because they do have live betting as well, like a lot of times, y'all I want y'all to understand, you can redeem yourself as well doing live betting process. Because when Troy got up, right, they had Clemson at +7, +7 at one point. They had them at, I think they had them at +10 at one point, doing in-game live betting, and a lot of times, that's when you can redeem yourself. You can bet on that as well. You can, because it's kind of like, they're gonna win. It's kind of like so don't let those opportunities pass up as well. Don't let those pass up. Boise State redeemed themselves as well against Eastern Washington, 51-14. They killed them. Northern Illinois was another one that I said last week that I liked against Maryland. They lost 20-19, but they covered a spread. And that's all we care about at the end of the day, right? We knew, I know they lost bad the week before, but Northern Illinois, I don't know what it is. They wake up and they come to play when they're playing against one of the big schools. Georgia had a little bit of a scare against Austin Peay this past week. They were 49-point underdogs and they won 28-6. They had a scare there. Let's see. All right. And I have all these things, so I have all these things written out. I have my notes, all these things set up. So I'm giving you good information. I don't like to give bad information. I love to give good information. That's what I'll do. We had an upset. Missouri State beat Marshall 21-20. That was a shocker right there. That's a shocker because Missouri State is not supposed to do that to Marshall on their home field. But they got it done. You gotta give them props for that. You have to. Cal against Texas Southern, 44.5. Yeah, I knew that, and I know this is an FCS game, but there are certain teams where you look at it and you're like, man, yeah, 44.5. That's not going to be enough. Texas Southern will cover that. Because Cal has no offense. Look at those teams. California, Stanford, they don't really, they're not built like that. Boston College, if you took them, they lost by 2, but the spread was +4. They were 4-point underdogs, so that was good. Nebraska was another easy one. Nebraska against Akron. They gave Nebraska 34 points. I seen that. I was like, they won about twice as much. 68-0. Easy. UCLA and UNLV, another easy one. UNLV were 1.5 point favorites at home. Now, I don't know if y'all watch UCLA, but I don't know what they're doing over there. I don't know what's going on. They do not have the team. They do not look like the Bruins of 20. Hell, they don't like the Bruins of 10 years ago. They look bad. They look bad. They look terrible. That is a terrible team to be in Los Angeles. There's no way a team in Los Angeles in the inner city should be that bad. No school, no Division I school playing in the FBS that's in a major city should be that bad. Ever. All right. Let's see. BYU and Stanford. We took BYU -18.5. Stanford lost that one 27-3. So we got 24 points. So we covered that one. And I took these. I was intrigued by. I took 2 games at night. So I did Washington. It was UC Davis against Washington. And I always look for these late night games. And you have Weber State against Arizona. So I took the over for Arizona, and I took the over for Washington. Washington won 70-10. So Washington was over 40, I think 43.5, and Arizona was over 40. So I took Arizona And they won 48-3. They scored 48, and Washington scored 70. So that was good, as well. All right, upcoming week now. Thursday night. We got North Carolina State and Wake Forest. That's a tough one, man, because Wake Forest is at home. Now, NC State is the better team, like, no doubt about it. NC State is the better team. Wake Forest has not been playing how I want them to play. But 7 points, that's a lot. That's a lot of points to be given up to Wake Forest from North Carolina State, But you know what? I'll give it to them anyway. Yeah, I'll take NC State -7. I'll take that. Why not? Let's see. Colorado against Houston. They're giving Colorado 6 points. The spread was -4 a couple days ago. So people are betting heavy on Houston at home. Houston looks okay, right? Houston looks okay. They just came off of a win this week, but Colorado is thinking about starting that third string quarterback. And I'm not here to question, Coach Prime on who he starts at quarterback. But when I look at him, like, man, the two guys, like, skipping two to go through, like, you bench one, two, and you paid 1 and 2 to come there, right? You paid first string, you paid second string to come there to Colorado. Third string, he was just happy that he was getting a scholarship. Hey, put me on. I'm just glad to be here, right? And you want to start him? I don't know, man. It might be for a series too. Now, the guy did play pretty good, but it was Delaware, right? But still, for me, that's my first time hearing of him. Obviously because I'm not in Boulder. But he played pretty good to me. And if Deion thinks he needs to be starting against Houston, go right ahead. I don't think there's anything. I won't question it. I won't question it. But I'll be fading Colorado if he's gonna start. If he's gonna play. That the question is he gonna play the entire game, right? Because that's what we want to know at the end of the day. Are you gonna play the entire game? Because you might put him in for a series or two and say, all right, this not working, and then put the other guy back in there and he's balling. Because that first string quarterback, I like Salter, right? I like him because he can move around. I don't like his decision making. If he learns to know when to throw it and know when to run it, man, you talking about a Heisman Trophy candidate? You got one. You got one there. He just has to learn how to run for, the funny this guy, it would be 3rd and 5, and this guy would have 10 yards in front of him, and he'll decide to throw it to somebody. He would decide to throw an inaccurate pass 40 yards downfield and overthrow the guy. It's just like, there's no way, like, you can't play at the next level. And I'm not saying that he will. He definitely won't. Not with that. Him, Salters, and Gio Lopez from North Carolina playing at the next level at quarterback. Nope. We'll put you in the slot at receiver. Because, y'all are inaccurate passers. Y'all are college quarterbacks. Y'all have college quarterback arms. Okay. UCLA and New Mexico. Woo! They have New Mexico at 15.5 points right now. It is so tempting to take New Mexico against UCLA. Now the question is, and I know UCLA, I know they got baptized, by Utah in week 1, and then they lost again to UNLV in week 2 at their crib. Now, I don't think New Mexico is as good as UNLV, right? And UCLA is at home, but I don't think 15 points. I think 15 points is a slap in the face to New Mexico. I would take New Mexico with the 15.5. Definitely I would take that. That's 2 touchdowns. Maybe UCLA wins by 1 touchdown, maybe 10 points at the most. I don't see anything. Yeah, definitely don't see anything more. Ohio State at Ohio, 33. They're giving Ohio, as of right now, it's 33.5 points to Ohio State. Right? You know what? Here you go. Let's do this a different way. So that way I don't go through every game. So every week I do my own predictions with the score and what I think it's going to be. Right? My probability of what it is, the numbers that I come up with, how the team plays versus how this team plays, and the coaching, right, and the situation, the home crowd, all these things are factored in, right? So here's what we're going to do. All right, we got LSU, all right, and I'm not going to name the opposite team. Well, if I know them by heart, I'll name them. Okay, LSU. Right now, I have LSU, right, with my, like I said, these are my personal point spreads that I come up with based off of my analysis of everything that I've told you. I have LSU winning against Florida at home by 17 points. I have LSU winning by 17. I have Miami against USF this week. I get it, USF. They embarrassed Boise State, right, at their home field, and then they went to the swamp and beat Florida. Let me tell y'all something. Miami is not Boise State. Miami is not Florida Gators. This Miami team is the real deal. And I'm not saying that because I'm from Miami, but I'm saying this because they will. The only way Miami doesn't, and I got Miami at winning this game by 21. If they let those players go out there and play, if they coach, right, and not take their foot off the gas, if they go in there and actually do what Miami does, which is blow teams out with a team that you can blow them out with, they'll win this game by 21. 3-4 touchdowns. Now USF, they do, like I said before, they do have a good defense, right? USF has a good defense, and you can't take that away from them. But Miami, a top 3 offensive line unit in the country. Top 3. USF, they won't see another offensive line unless they make it to the college playoff. They won't see another offensive line like this for the rest of their schedule. They won't see one. They won't see one. They won't see another quarterback like this. They won't see another group of. They will not see another team like Miami unless they make it to the college football playoffs this year. So, but I got Miami winning this one by 21. Oregon. Oregon plays. Let's see. Oregon plays Northwestern. Northwestern, they're a decent team. And they're at home in this one. But I still have Oregon winning this one by 27 points. Now, right now, I think the spread is at like 28. So if it comes down to, I got it when it was at 27, right? But if it comes down to 20, back down to 27, I would take that. I would take that. I definitely believe that they're 4 touchdowns better than Northwestern. I know this is a conference game, but I don't care. All right, Texas. I have Texas winning by 42. Against I still can't believe that Texas is number 1. I still can't believe that. But I got them against 42 against UTEP. I got them winning that way. But like I said before, Texas, I think they're right now they're calling plays to where it's like, yeah, give me the worst play. Send in the worst plays that you have to Archie Manning, and let's see if he can turn chicken crap in the chicken salad. I think that's what they're doing now, and it's making him look incompetent. Like I said, this is just my theory. I don't know if they do or not, but when I look on that sideline, there's no urgency for Sarkisian. Like when his play calling, like he's just cool, calm, and collected. Because he's like, yeah, I know I'm on the BS, but I'm just calling it. Yeah. But All right, so I have Michigan minus 28. I have Michigan minus 28. They're playing Central Michigan University. Um, I know Central Michigan. They upset San Diego State in week one. I mean San Jose State in week one on their own field at San Jose field. They upset them. And let's see, last week, let's see, Central Michigan. Let's see. I love doing this, y'all. I love to handwrite everything out because, it calls like I just love doing this old school style because it shows me that, what I'm saying, it keeps your mind working. You have more an appreciation for it where you can just flip through this thing like a photo book. But yeah, Central Michigan, they got embarrassed by Pittsburgh last week. 45-17 at Pittsburgh, in their stadium. Michigan is a better team than Pittsburgh. I know they're coming off this loss, this tough game from Oklahoma. So I think they'll start off slow and then realize, hey, let's stop playing around. Let's go in here and let's kill them. They don't belong in our stadium. Iowa State, next game. Iowa State. I have Iowa State minus 49, right? I think I'll have them 49-point favorites. Remember so I want you to understand, these are my point spreads, right? This is what I believe is going to happen, right? This is obviously the point spreads, when they came out, I went and looked over a few of them, they are a lot lower, right? It's a lot lower than what is, but that works for me because that tells me, hey, I'm cool with that, and I believe in doing it this way because it takes the emotions out of it. It takes the emotions out of it. Let me do my own thing, and then, I'll implant those. So, what I'm saying. But as long as I can, help people out, as long as I can help people make money, I'm okay with that. But Iowa State this week, we'll be playing against Arkansas State at at Arkansas State. Now, I know they came off a tough game with Iowa. But this should be another easy game for them. Arkansas just embarrassed Arkansas State this past week. They beat up on Big Brother, beat up on Little Brother, as usual. That's the way things should be. 56-14. So they walked out of there, feeling good about beating up on Little Brother. Next game is Texas Tech. Right, Texas Tech University, they have been putting up points like crazy, and I know they haven't been playing any stellar teams, but still for them to put up the amount of points they've been putting up, that shows dramatic improvement from last year's team. I got them at 40 against, let's see, yeah, I know you all don't need to know the team, but all you need to know is Texas Tech minus 40. Right, and then you'll probably see they'll probably have them. I think they had them at like minus 24.5 this week. Let's see, Texas Tech should be playing. They are playing. Let's see, my bad. Y'all gotta excuse. Hold on. Let's see. Y'all gotta excuse the. Let me pause this real quick while I look for it, so y'all don't be waiting here with me. Okay, I got it. All right, Texas Tech. You got Oregon State at Texas Tech. Now they got Texas Tech 24. Get this while y'all can, right? Because I got Texas Tech winning by 49 points, right? If they had the spread at 40, I would take Texas Tech. Like I really would. All right, and well, no, I got two more. All right, UAB. UAB. All right, so UAB this week, right? UAB they are hosting Akron. Akron has not scored a point. Akron got shut out by Wyoming 10-0, and then they just got shut out again by Nebraska 68-0. Now, granted, I know UAB is not Nebraska, and I do believe that they're right on par with Wyoming, with a better offense though. I have UAB winning this one by 21. I think right now, I think the spread is 11 and a half, 12 for UAB at home. Akron has no offense. I don't, they haven't been a relevant team, since Charlie Fry, back in 2005, so since he was the quarterback, maybe they can, maybe he can have a son and, just, hey, man, go to Akron and try to turn that thing around. But, yeah, I like UAB minus 21 points, hands down. Right now they got them at 12. So, all right, and then last but not least, Minnesota and California. I have them scoring under 40 as a game total. Both teams have good defenses. Cal has no offense. Minnesota has no offense. I do believe Minnesota is the better team. They are. Yeah, I do believe they're the better team. But I don't think this game will go under 40. Both of them, that they suck up so much clock. It's just so much. Now I want y'all to understand this. Just because I'm giving y'all point spreads, right? That doesn't mean that you can't bet on the money line. All right. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna give y'all a few games of money line that that you can bet. Boston College against Stanford, right? And I want y'all to think about it this way. I don't think about it because I know y'all like someone be like, oh, minus 1,000, minus 1,500, minus 2,000. It's all right. Parlay it, right? Once you parlay these games, it's a slow process, right? Think about, envision what you want to make, right, in a month, right? And then, okay, you know what? Here's what I can afford to lose, without hurting myself. And then, okay, I can stand to make this, when I win this one, right? So, and I'm only going to give you games, right, that I truly believe will be successful. All right, those are the only ones I'm giving you. I'm not giving you, no iffies or anything like that. In my opinion, I'm giving you what I believe to be guaranteed. All right, so money line. All right, Boston College at Stanford. Money line, Boston College. Okay, Boston College Eagles over the Stanford Cardinal. Okay, UAB over Akron. Right. For this, and like I said, this is the money line. This is not the point spread. Okay, this is the money line. All right. So, as a matter of fact, I'll write these down while I'm telling you, and then I'll go back over it again. Okay. So our first one is Boston College, BC, right? UAB. Okay, on the money line. Let's see. We have University of Kentucky, all right, against Eastern Michigan. All right, we're going to take University of Kentucky on the money line. All right, all of these are money line teams. Next, Virginia Tech over against Old Dominion. Let's see. We have. Hold on. Yeah, we got Auburn over South Alabama. We have Utah over Wyoming. And like I said, remember, money line. Okay, that's what we're going off of. Money line, nothing else. Okay, money line. Let's see. We're taking Iowa State, okay, over Arkansas State. We're taking LSU over Florida on the money line. We're taking University of Miami, the U, over on the money line. Yeah. And that's all. Like, and the reason why, the list won't be as long for money line, as it would for the spread, obviously, because once teams with the spread can be so big, they won't allow, the money line. But the whole process, the whole point of doing this thing is to build slowly, right? And I'm going to continue what I said earlier. I know I didn't finish, but think about an amount of money that you're trying to make in a month, right? Let's say, if you're trying to make $3,000 a month, right? 3,000 divided into 4 weeks, right? Because it's 4 weeks in a month. What does that give us, right? Our goal, that means that we have to make $750 a week. All right. Now, we're not factoring into what your bookie charges you to send you the money and all those things, right? So if you want to add an extra $50 onto that for fees and all that stuff, you can do that. But so $3,000 a month, $750 per week, right? That's all we need to make, right? That's all we need to make, $750 a week. And let's break it down to the day, right? Now, even though, it is, so we're not being that small, but let's just do it, right? That's $150 a day that we're doing. So all these things, and we have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? We have 4 days to make. Let's see, we're not going to count Monday, right? We'll count Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to make $750, right? That's 4 days. So what do we do in that time, right? We do the math on it, right? We know we need to make at least, 4 days. We know we need to make $185 from Thursday, $185 per day, or $750 from Thursday to Sunday. We know we need to make $750, right? And it's all about knowing all avenues of this thing, right? In-game, pre-game betting, in-game betting, right? Those are the best, whichever one that makes you feel great, right? But just for more important, like I said, understanding the team, right? Understanding the coach, understanding the environment that's being played with, even the weather, right? Understanding if it's going to rain, it's going to thunder. All these things play a factor into you placing your bets. A lot of people, they just place the bets. They don't look at the weather. Okay, what's going to happen? What kind of weather are we going to have this week in Miami, right? Doing this South Florida, is it going to be rainy, right? Because guess what? If it is, Bryce Brown, so he can't throw the ball in rain. He's going to have to run. Right? Is it going to be, how's the weather going to be in North Carolina this week? How's it going to be in Georgia? How's it going to be, like in those areas? How is it going to be in College Station? And how well do these guys, do they have the team to play like that? Is it, how hot is it going to be, in Arizona? What's going to happen? We got to take these things, into factor, because the Carolina, and jumping to the NFL real quick, the Carolina Panthers have to play the Arizona Cardinals this week, right? It is hot in Arizona. They have trash cans melting on the sidewalks in Arizona, right? Now, North Carolina, the Carolina Panthers just got beat down by the Jaguars, and that heat beat them down. So I can only imagine what it's going to do in Arizona. That's that dry heat in Arizona. That heat right there. I don't know if y'all ever been over there on the West Coast in Arizona and Las Vegas, Nevada, those areas. I'm telling you, you can drink 2 gallons of water. You walk right up the street to the next stoplight. Your lips crusty. Yeah, like your whole body is just dehydrated. But yeah, those are my picks for college. I know I said I was gonna, in my last video, I was gonna put out the NFL videos on Friday. I forgot about it. I was just focused on other stuff, but yeah, like I said, put those parlays together as quick as you can, because as the week goes on, these scores, they will start fading away. These good prices that you get, the discount, I like to call them the discount prices, they'll be gone. Those discount prices, they disappear You know, come Thursday and Friday, they disappear with prejudice. You know, but yeah, hey, but like I said, man, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe and share, all right, and comment as well. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Tell me how you did last week. Give me your ideas on the games that you choose, right? Give me, you know, I want to know your inputs, your input as well. You know, tell me, I want to hear about it. But hey, have a blessed day, you know, and I'll see y'all after y'all win that ticket, baby. God bless.